Hey, everybody, welcome back into another edition of the DrBicuspid.com podcast. My name is Kevin Henry, editor in chief for Dr. Bicuspid, and thrilled to be joined today once again by a dear friend as well as one of those industry thought leaders, and that is Dr. Roger Levin. Dr. Levin, how are you, my friend?
Kevin, I'm doing great, and I can't wait for this segment because it's going to be fun, really fun.
I have no doubt, and I'm so thrilled that we are continuing this on five-star customer service. And I want to encourage you, go back and listen to the previous ones in this series because I know what Dr. Lynn's going to talk about today dovetails in so nicely with what he's discussed before. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend.
All right, well, here we go. So I want to encourage everybody also, Kevin, to listen to this with their team. These are great. They're a good length, 20 some minutes, and really good to sit down at a staff meeting. It'll add energy, but more importantly, it'll add education. So our first segment today is called Create the Winning Attitude, because I don't care how much I teach, and I love to teach, and how practical I am, and if I have good ideas, none of it really matters unless you're in the right mindset persona. There's a great book called Mindset that was written, and it's just a brilliant book by a Stanford University PhD in psychology, and she talks about open mindset and closed mindset. So I hope everybody listening today has an open mindset, because that's the only way you can improve in life. And I'm going to start by talking about what I call the 9 rules of living. This is about changing you and me, Kevin. But the beauty is, you can actually go do this very, very quickly. And if you do it, so there may be a few listeners that say, okay, let's get rid of this touchy-feely stuff. Well, it may be touchy-feely, but it also really works. So I'm all in favor of it. And then we're going to get very into very, very practical day-to-day customer service strategies. But if I just give you a list, and I will, of customer service strategies, and you don't have the right mindset and approach, you're still going to fail in customer service. So 9 rules of living. Here we go. Hope you like them. Number 1, start each day with what I call a habit trigger. Habit trigger. It's a habit that triggers a behavior. I told you last time, one of mine is saying I'm a winner 10 times in the shower every morning. Nobody should try to imagine that. Just focus on the I'm a winner part. But if you'll do it for 21 consecutive days, in sports psychology, it's been well established that if you do something physical for 21 days, it can become a habit. It becomes ingrained. Don't miss a day. There's no excuse. Pick one sentence, whatever it is. I'm wonderful. I'm beautiful. Everybody likes me. I live for other people. Whatever you want it to be. Nobody else needs to know it. You don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to share it. It's your mantra, as I say, and just do it every single day. And I told you, I'm a fun person, I hope, but I'm a serious person. And for 40, 50 years, I've been doing I'm a winner every morning. I'm never going to stop. And by the way, many, many people who've done this with me in a seminar have come back years later to another seminar and said to me, I did that with my kids, because I always recommend to tell your kids they're winners. And we did it every day, and it was great. Number 2, I refuse to use negative language. You will become the way you talk. It's that simple. You want to talk negative, you'll be negative. But even worse, you're going to make everybody around you negative. Then you're going to have a whole negative atmosphere in your office, and you wonder why you're losing patients. And by the way, everybody, I just finished a major article on the real cost of losing patients. And let me wake you up. It will cost you between $3 and $8 million over your career. The patients you lose, many of which are customer service issues. A negative environment, you're going to get fewer new patients and lose your patients and families. Now, there are a lot of reasons that contribute to lost patients, but customer service is a big one. And by the way, being good is not good enough, because if the economy slows down and patients are looking at fees, they may go find lower fee options. And we're starting to see fee wars. There's a new term for you, fee wars in dentistry. They've always kind of been there, but they've been below the surface. You're going to see a lot more of that going forward. You become the way you talk. Don't use negative language. Number 3, I do not say anything negative about anyone else. Don't talk about other people. You weren't there. Every dentist knows that, when a patient comes in, you don't trash the previous dentist, even if you don't like what you see. Are we being immoral? Are we being dishonest? No, you weren't there. I'm a 10-year full-time dentist. In my early days, I'm sure there are cases I did that didn't work out. I know there are cases I did that didn't work out perfectly because the circumstances wouldn't allow it. But if that patient went to another dentist, all they see is the result and they say, oh, it could have been done better. Okay, we've all seen that. But if in the practice, stop criticizing other people. Don't talk about other people. And by the way, gossip kills customer service. Gossip is the most debilitating thing you can do to tear down a practice. Just gossip about people. Some of the people listening, you've gossiped, somebody else told somebody, and that person never spoke to you again. We don't want that. Remember, we're building a culture of positivity, not a culture of negativity. You talk about other people, you're being negative. You're bringing it down. And as I like to say, it only takes one bad mood by one staff member on any given day to bring down the entire team. 4, I will not complain. Complaining is useless. Don't do it. Now, it doesn't mean you don't see things that need to be fixed or improved. So state facts. Here's what happened. Here's what I think we should do. That's it. In my company, we don't use the word blame. I don't allow blame. Certainly, there are people who could be blamed for certain things they do or certain circumstances, including me. I wish I was so perfect, but we don't allow blame because blame is a tear down situation. It doesn't focus on improvement. It's just because of that person instead of, okay, here's what happened. How do we improve it? So, complaining, and don't complain about the news. Don't complain about politics. Don't just stay off all that. We've got a job to do in the office, and this is a customer service podcast topic today. And our job is wow our patients. Well, complaining does nothing to ever wow a patient. And if a patient complains, you say, certainly understand how you feel. One of my favorite lines, I certainly understand how you feel. You're not really saying anything, but you're blending that patient's complaint in without responding, you're right, you're wrong, I see it this way, whatever it may be. Don't complain. Try to get through one whole day. I challenge everyone. Kevin, I challenge you, and I challenge still me. Get through one whole day without voicing a single complaint. Okay? See if you can do it because it's really, really hard. Number 5, I will say please and thank you 100 times every day. Now, do I really mean 100? And not from a teaching standpoint, but I would say to you, you can do 100. You should be thanking your team if you're a dentist all day long. Thank you for the instrument. Thank you for the update. Thanks for doing a great job. Thank you for us finishing on time. Thank you for your attitude. Thank you. Please and thank you are still, manners are still so important. And it makes people feel good. If you're not doing this, let me explain, you're taking your team for granted. You will not have a winning attitude. And team members, if you're watching this and you're not doing it, you're taking each other for granted. I think the worst thing we can do is become so comfortable with each other that we take each other for granted. So saying please and thank you has another ulterior motive effect. It frames our attitude. When I'm saying, Kevin, thank you. This has been great today. Thanks for letting me disseminate this education to your listeners. It reframes my attitude because when I'm saying thank you, I'm thinking about all the good things and the gratitude, not the bad things. Which way do you want to focus your day? Because in today's world, you can go 100% negative all day long. Just go watch the news channel that's opposite of your political views, and you can be negative all day long. Who wants to do that? The practice should be fun. You want to go to work with your coworker friends. You want to have great conversations with people. You don't want to be negative. Say please and thank you 100 times a day. That was number 5. Number 6, I expect good things to happen to me. I'm going to tell you all something. I can't prove it. Now, I love data, I love research, and I love to be able to prove things. I spent 7 years in national debating in high school and college. I like to prove things. I cannot prove this, but I am sure. There's not much I'm sure of, but I am sure that if you expect good things to happen to you, you've got a much better chance they will. And why is that? Because your mindset becomes looking for the possibilities and potentially good things instead of the negative. You start to see, oh, if I talk to that person, I'll learn something. If I watch this podcast, I'll learn something. If I call this friend who I haven't talked to in 10 years, but they came into my mind, don't expect them to say, well, why haven't you called me in 10 years? Expect them to be glad to hear from you. You get in life what you expect, not by some mystical, the universe will deliver. There was a book written years ago called The Secret. I hope I don't offend anybody. It was a bestseller. It was wild. It was the dumbest book I ever read. Now, why do I say that? Given that I'm a positive person, because the book basically said if you think to the universe will deliver anything you want. Kevin, I've been thinking red Ferrari ever since I read that book. It's not appeared yet. I keep thinking I'm going to come out of my house one day and that red Ferrari is going to be there. What the book didn't say, I agree with the book. If you think about things, you move toward them, but you got to do the work. It's like you have to actually show up and do the work. So when I say it's the dumbest book, I don't mean that. I'm being fun. There was a lot of good things in the book, but you can't just think about it. You've got to expect it, and then you have to work toward it. If you expect good things to happen to you, you influence overall results. And number 7, I think I mentioned before, but it's on the list of the 9 rules of living. Do all 9, everybody. It's really easy, and it's all pretty much free. I write 5 things every night that I'm grateful for. If you write 5 things in a little book, use handwriting because there's a mind-body connection with handwriting. You don't get quite the same from typing. The next generation might, because they might not write anything, so that might be different. But take a few moments before bed. This is for you to appreciate your success. Right now, Kevin, and the world's going to keep changing. I know that. So the first thing in a podcast, you never talk about the date or what's happening today, because then you'll be out of date in a year. But I'm going to mention that right now we're having some economic uncertainty. Okay. The market's up, the market's down. The reason I mention that is I want to go to bed at night thinking about my successful day, not what didn't work or what didn't happen. And I think when you write these things down, you sleep better and you wake up happier. I'm pretty certain of that too. Can't prove that either. Number 8, I eliminate the negative from my life. If I could pick one of these to change your life, I eliminate the negative from my life. If I have negative friends, which I don't, I guess I've already done this, I eliminated them. I don't want to be around constantly negative people. If you have negative family, be careful. Getting rid of a negative spouse can get very expensive. I like to joke about that. So that's funny in seminars, at least. I don't know if it's funny in a podcast, but you can spend less time with negative family even. Negative people bring you down. They influence worse results. Your expectations in life go down, and you find yourself in a funk. If you're walking around in a funk all the time, well, you're allowing it to happen because you can change it. And finally, number 9, I give back. And again, charity, I am philanthropic and I am charitable. I will state that. And I do most of my charity for others because I want to help others. I want to make a better world. But I also know that in some way I do it for me as well. It makes me feel good. Dale Carnegie said, we give to charity for our own selfish reasons, which is fine because you're doing a good thing. No problem. Somebody say, oh, that's terrible to give to charity to make yourself feel good. No, if you're giving to charity, you make people, and by the way, you don't have to give money. You can work. I was with people the other day, very well-to-do people. They're in a soup kitchen twice a month. But whatever it is, when you give back, here's my main point, it reinforces your success. Because if you're not successful, you can't give a whole lot. But you can give time and make yourself feel good. So those are 9 rules of living. And you know what I'm going to do, Kevin? I'm going to read them each one again so we put it together. Number 1, begin each day with a habit trigger. 2, refuse to use negative language. 3, do not say anything negative about anyone else. 4, I will not complain. 5, I will say please and thank you 100 times every day. 6, I expect good things to happen to me. 7, I write 5 things that I'm grateful for every night. 8, I eliminate the negative from my life. And 9, I give back. That's all. Okay. Do those 9 things. By the way, 9 might sound overwhelming. These are so easy. Just start doing it. I promise you, in 21 days, your attitude, your mindset's better, and it spins off right into excellent customer service, which of course is our main topic. Okay. Now, the next piece of this podcast is called Dental Practices Create Smiles. Shocking statement, right? We didn't know that. But do we smile? And I would love to spend a lot of time on this, but it's so simple We need to smile all day long. Now, once again, I have these theories. I think when you smile, you release endorphins in you and the person you're smiling at. What are endorphins? They are those chemicals in the brain that give you what was called runner's high or being in the zone or that amazing feeling. They used to call it white space years ago in sports. I remember a sports psychologist said, once you've experienced it, you'll do just about anything to experience it again. It's just that wonderful, everything's great, I'm in a flow kind of feeling. And here's the bottom line: you need to smile. Don't pick up the phone without smiling. No, they can't. You've heard that statement. They can hear the smile in your voice. No, they can't. Nobody can hear a smile. But you know what it does? It puts you in a mindset. It's a habit trigger of its own. I smile before I pick up the phone, and it reminds me whoever's calling is to be treated like a VIP every single time. The greatest front desk people I've ever met are naturals. There are very few of them, but anybody they touch, they brighten their day. A smile brightens a person's day. Dentists, don't walk into a treatment room without doing 4 things. And by the way, I've lowered your stress and increased your life longevity by a number of years. 1, stop at the door. Don't walk into a room or a chair if you're open bay in ortho or something without stopping. Just take that 1 second, slow down, stop. I'm only asking you for a couple of seconds. 2, take a deep breath. If everybody right now listening takes a deep breath, the stress goes out of you. I'm convinced that a lot of this mindful meditation is just because it gets you to breathe for 10 minutes really deeply. And you know what? You do come out feeling better. So you take a deep breath to get yourself centered for that next patient. All about customer service. You're now a customer service athlete. Number 3, put a smile on your face. Don't walk into a room without a smile. A lot of dentists and staff members look like they're depressed, especially in the afternoon. Why do we look more down and less vibrant in the afternoon? Because you're tired. Your energy's dropping. By the way, Kevin, not for customer service, but in practice management systems, if you're tired at 3 o'clock, you got bad systems. America's just gotten used to being tired. It's like everybody's walking with water bottles. When do we become so dehydrated? That we have to have a water bottle 24/7. It's one of those great mythical things. My point is, you stop, you breathe, you're getting a mindset about every patient's a VIP. I'm going to go in there and meet a patient, pretend it's the greatest celebrity in the world in your chair, stop, breathe, smile. And then know the name of whoever's in there is number 4. A lot of times we walk in the room, we don't even know who's actually sitting in until we look at the chart or the computer or whatever we're using. So bottom line is smile, staff, smile. We smile all day long. Don't let a patient see your face without seeing a smile. And I mean it. So, again, customer service is not an accident, but most of it's pretty free. And if you do these things I'm teaching, you do half of them, you're going to revolutionize your practice. And by the way, you walk into a Nordstrom or a Disney, they're smiling at you. They come up to you. Can I help you? Remember, a lot of this was based on my 2-year study of the Ritz-Carlton, Nordstrom, and Disney, and they are smiling at you. A smile means I like you. And when people like you, they trust you. And I wrote another article recently. The number one reason case acceptance is turned down is because people don't trust you. In other words, when we get to the bigger cases, the patient's sitting there. It's not that they don't trust you, like, Kevin, I don't trust you. You're going to steal something. I just don't trust enough that I need to do it now, that I should spend this much money. So smiling makes people like you. Okay, now the next one to end this segment is maybe the most powerful statement I can make in all the podcasts, and this is number 3 in all the podcasts. I know we're doing several more. This is it. It's right here. Remember these words: whoever makes it easiest wins. Whoever makes it easiest wins. And using me, I just get a little personal because it's kind of fun. Kevin, you and I have been working together for many, many years, different publications. I'm a writer. You're more important. You're an editor and publisher. And as I say, I work for you. But I decided 1985 when I wrote my first article, and I realized I'd started Levin Group, the management consulting firm. I realized I wanted to build this and have it part of my career and then my whole career. And I said to myself, I'm going to be the author that editors like. Now, is it because I'm the most brilliant guy around? No. Is it because I'm the best writer around? No. It was two things. Hopefully, I'm semi intelligent with good ideas, and hopefully, I'm a decent writer. But it was two things. I said, number one, I'm never going to miss a deadline. Kevin, I honestly can't think in 41 years of a deadline I've missed in my work, which I value. I mean, I take my work really seriously, but I take your time seriously as well. And number two, that I would write well enough that I didn't send a mess that had to be so edited that you never wanted to hear from me again. Those were two principles that I believe helped a lot, because it doesn't matter how good I am if nobody wants to publish me, because I'm a pain in the neck to work with. Whoever makes it easiest wins. My goal was, instead of like, you're lucky to have my article, I said to myself, how can I make my work easy for you? So you want to publish it, and I can get my ideas out to the dental community. All right, practices. Whoever makes it easiest wins. The attitude should be all day, every day, we're going to do anything we can for patients that doesn't blow up our practice. Now, there are limits. We're not doing a $1,000 case on a 20-year payment plan. We're not going to take a patient who calls that doesn't really have an emergency and wreck our whole day putting them in the wrong spot. But if they really do have an emergency, you better find out and get them in, or you'll lose that patient and family because they'll go somewhere else, because a real emergency needs to be seen that day, that way. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, I can't remember if I talked about this in our first two segments. So if I repeat it, I apologize. But I was in a CEO organization broken up into components of 16 CEOs. We met all day the first Monday of every month. We had a professional chairman, executive coach. We had speakers. It was a great education, terrific. And one of the owners, CEOs in the group owned a pharmacy. Okay, so you're going like, okay, so big deal. His pharmacy revenue was 20 times bigger than the highest revenue CVS pharmacy. 20 times bigger. This one pharmacy did numbers. I won't give you the numbers or name who it is, but it did numbers that would make your eyes pop out of your head. Now, what did this guy do to beat CVS, Walmart, might be, I don't know, the most lucrative pharmacy in the entire country? And the answer is, he had signs all over the pharmacy in the non-public areas that said, say yes unless it's illegal. You needed something that no one, CVS isn't going to deliver a handicapped, a piece of equipment. They do. Whatever they have to do to get it there, drive it there, they would take prescriptions at 2:00 in the morning to people who couldn't get out. Now, you may say, oh, this sounds crazy. I'm not telling you to do what they do. I'm telling you why they're so successful, because people want that service and they're not going to leave that pharmacy because they don't want to lose it. We toured each other's businesses. The tour of that pharmacy, the staff, oh my God, the most amazing, engaging, friendly people, 20 times bigger than the biggest CVS in the country in those days. Pretty impressive. Whoever makes it easiest wins. You go to work with the attitude of, I want to help you. Now, I call this my airline versus hotel theory. As you know, Kevin, I've flown a million times. I used to travel part of each week lecturing. I still give a lot of lectures every year. I got to get on a plane to Kansas City next week. And what am I thinking? And I'm a very experienced traveler with millions of points. I'm going to go to the airport. I wonder if the flight will be on time. I wonder if the flight will take off. I wonder if we'll have a mechanical problem where I don't know what's going to happen, and then 4 hours later, they'll cancel the flight. I'm in Baltimore. I wonder if I'm going to go to Baltimore Washington International Airport and then have to jump in a cab to get over to Dulles or Reagan in Washington because my flight was canceled in Baltimore, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I wonder if I'm going to have a problem on the plane. I wonder if I'm going to be able to get a drink. I wonder if the person next to me is going to be whatever. Airlines are built to say no. When you go up to a gate agent at an airline and you make any request out of the ordinary, they're built to say no. Southwest Airlines. Baltimore is one of the biggest Southwest Airlines centers in the country. They don't have hubs. You go up to Southwest Airlines and you make a request, they still say no. And when they tell you bags are free, only with certain tickets. Bags are not, they're not going to be free in the future anyway, but bags weren't free anyway. Or I've gone on Southwest, I've gotten to the airport sometimes 2 hours early. There was another flight home. The flight's half empty. And to change seats, if you don't have a fully refundable ticket, because I don't do that to my seminar expenses for people. I remember one time it was $450 to get on a half empty plane. I didn't do it, but It was like a 2-hour difference. You got to be kidding me. Airlines are built to say no. Hotels are built to say yes. That's why I studied the Ritz-Carlton to learn their principles of customer service, because hotels, the attitude is, I want to say yes if I can. I want to say yes if it's logistically possible. But like that Southwest Airlines story, they had, 100 open seats, but they wouldn't stick me on the plane without a $450 because they're built. Airlines start with no and go forward. Good hotels start with yes and go forward. You are a boutique. I told you all that. Dental practices are boutiques, whether you like it or not. That's how patients see you. They got to reach in their pocket, even with insurance. I know you're mad at insurance companies. I know you feel taken advantage of, but the patient still has a copay, even though it's less. It's out of their pocket. So you're a boutique to them. Be like a good hotel. Say yes if at all possible. So that might be our segment for today, if you for now, if you like. But remember, the 9 rules of living will change your life. By the way, you'll be so much happier if you live that way. When I learned them, my happiness quotient certainly went up. Smile all day long and make your practice the easiest practice to ever work with. You won't know what to do with all your new patients over time. It just begins to cascade. It's pretty amazing.
You know, you talked about Southwest Airlines, and I've got to just say real quick, Baltimore, BWI is one of their big centers. Denver, where I live, is one of their big centers.
Okay.
And I will tell you, when Southwest changed to they're going to have assigned seats, they're going to become like so many other airlines, they lost my business because that specialness that I felt whenever I flew Southwest, it
Mhm.
was gone suddenly. And so
Yep.
I loved your point about the pharmacy, about doing things to stand out and be different, and then sticking to those values as well, even whenever people may question you, or business may say, that's not how you should do it. You should do it this way.
Yeah, Kevin, it's always amazed me, and this is a really important point for our listeners. And I'm gonna say it this way: it's silly not to give a patient what they want if it costs you nothing. But there are people who will say no just because it's not the policy, it's not the protocol. Listen, we teach systems. We give practices what we call documented, proven step-by-step systems. Follow them, you're going to grow 30% within 1 to 2 years, guaranteed. But having said that, sometimes it's okay to go out of the system when it costs you nothing and it does no harm. You don't just say no because it's not your system. So even McDonald's will make you a Big Mac without pickles.
Goodness. Makes me happy when they do that, trust me.
Right, right. So it's like, give the customer what they want if you can, and it's easy. And in most cases, people are reasonable. They're always unreasonable people. That's different. That's called how do you manage difficult people. But for customer service, life is so much fun when you just want to do a great job for everybody around you. I give customer service. This is my own philosophy. Everywhere I go, if I meet a gate agent at the airport, I try to give a compliment. If I am in a Wegmans, grocery store, and I'm going to ask somebody where something is, I thank them for helping me. I want everybody to be like, everybody's my customer in the world until proven otherwise. It's just a great way to think and live. And it's so much fun because you go home happy instead of, there are people who go home annoyed every night. They find the one thing that day to be, and if they don't, they can turn on the news and find it. So the stuff you and I are doing is fun, but it is silly not to give a patient what they want when it's completely free. It makes no
It
sense.
is. I agreed. And I want to go back all the way to the very first point you made in this podcast, because and it goes back to our last podcast where you talked about I'm a winner, and you do that in the shower to get ready for the day. But I want to emphasize, you don't just do that. You actually believe it when you say it as well. It's not just a futile exercise. It really is a mindset, and that you believe it as well.
Totally. And it's not competition. In sports, you always see sports teams jumping up and down and pumping their fists before the game because they're getting their adrenaline going. They're getting physically and mentally ready. It's not, I'm a winner over anyone else. It's, I'm a winner for me. I want to win every day. And a winning day to me is all about doing what I do to the best of my ability and helping others and going home with a great feeling of satisfaction. I mean, this is 41 years I've gotten out of bed every day just to, try to help our clients, educate my colleagues, and contribute to the best of my ability. And Kevin, you are one of those people. I don't want to embarrass you, but you absolutely have lived that, and that's one reason I admire you and love working with you. Making a difference is important.
Well, and working with people that you not only respect, but also that you enjoy working with makes such a difference as well. And right back at you. I've always enjoyed, even our conversations at a Chicago midwinter when we run into each other in the aisle. It's just nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
think
we
about, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I just say we need that today with so much negativity where we could go down.
Well, I'll give you another point of view that our listeners might find interesting. Think about where you spend your time in life. So, Kevin, you're in Denver. I have a friend in Denver who did not have a sleep problem. I'm not talking about sleep dentistry here. He didn't. He slept great, but he went to one of your hospitals to have a sleep study done just to learn to sleep better than he even did because he said one day, he's a real thinker. He said, I spent a third of my life in bed. I ought to work to get it the best I can possibly get it. You're going to spend, a third of your life at work. It's fun to be with people you want to be with. It's fun to love your patients. When front desk people say to me, "Oh, I love our patients," that's all I need to know. After that, I can teach them systems. I can teach them skills. Our consultants are incredible. They'll teach them the details. As soon as they say to me, I love our patients, everything else is easy. That's a practice that's going to do great in any type of consulting program or educational experience.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go grab the secret right after we're done, and I'm going to manifest the Rockies can actually win the World Series. So, if anything can happen, that would be the miracle in and of itself.
Why do I think you have a better chance of that than me finding that red Ferrari in my driveway?
I think it's pretty even, my friend. I think it is. Now, Dr. Levin, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time. And I mean that when I say that, because again, I know you prep
Thank you.
so much to be ready for this, and it truly means a lot.
All right. Well, I look forward to the next one, Kevin. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm looking
Okay.
forward to it as well. And I want to make sure you check out levingroup.com. We're going to make sure to have that in the show notes. So it's really easy to learn more about Dr. Levin and everything that he and his company offers. And until next time, it is Kevin Henry, editor in chief for Dr. Bicuspid, signing off and truly wishing you nothing but success ahead.